Greetings, friends. Welcome to the Pin Tool Podcast. My name is Al Wayman, owner of Creek Road Pottery in Laceyville, Pennsylvania, next to the cold Tuscarora Creek. Pull up a chair around the wheel as we discuss topics concerning the art and craft of pottery, good books, storytelling, marketing, and creating work that matters for folks who care. Greetings, friends. It's me, Al, and this is episode 11 of season 3 of the Pin Tool Podcast. You're going to hear birds. You're going to hear cars going by. I'm sitting on the front porch of the Pottery shed. And it's just been a beautiful spring so far. The grass is growing like crazy. Just got it mowed last week. Already needs a mow. The dandelions come up like the next day. And they grow like crazy. But I got some beautiful meadow flowers growing in the lawn, and I always like to see those. The rhododendrons are blooming like crazy, and they look beautiful. If you go to my Facebook page, you can see a picture of the rhododendrons out front the house. So I had scheduled a few shows to do in June, but due to a lot of overtime at work, I wasn't able to make some of those shows. They were just small local tables. It wasn't a hard commitment where I put money into. It was mostly community events. And it looks like I'm not going to be able to do some of those due to overtime at the big paper factory. Work there has been a little bit crazy. I already did 2 overtime days the last 2 weeks. The money's nice, but I'm not getting much done in the pots. Do have some bowls. I'm on vacation this week, so I need to make more bowls. Got in some new clay, and hopefully I can start making work for the wood firing in the fall. That is if I can get the kiln up. So the kiln is on hold right now because I'm trying to find somebody to do the pour for the pad. It seems that all the contractors, they're off doing big jobs that pay them thousands, and to come in to pour a small patio type pad for me seems to be challenging to work into their schedule. So I may need to plan around that. I may need to just find somebody to help me do it myself and then have a truck come in and pour it. But I really need to get that kiln up and off the pallets because I don't want it stacked another winter on pallets, because this project needs to move along as well as I can make it move along within my schedule and with what I can do. So I plan on going to Bill Moon's wood firing in another week or so. I have 2 days off, so I plan on spending the weekend there helping him with the summer wood firing that's coming up in June. And I was there back in April. You heard about all that in my past episodes, but that was an amazing time, and it was a great way to learn how to do wood firing. As I bring the kiln in, I want to know as much as I can about it. So I had some time to work with the people on Purple Space. This is a platform set up by Seth Godin, and I had the pleasure of doing a workshop with the people there and Seth on strategy. So he is working through a new book, and he is asking us questions and proposing ideas, and we're giving feedback. And from all that feedback, I went into thinking about the strategy of my business, and it was an amazing thing to do. And I thought about things a lot deeper, and I was able to come up with a map, right? a map that I could lay out and see the many different directions that I could possibly use, or routes that I could use to get to where I wanted to go, right? And the further up you go, the more things are included in that map. Sometimes we're just too close. Close-up view is good, but maybe sometimes we need to widen our view a bit, right? So today, we're going to be talking about key activities as part of the business model canvas study. And I have 20 key activities that I do here on a monthly rotation. And this podcast is one, writing the newsletter is one, and writing the Pottery Dailies is one. So if you haven't heard of the Pottery Dailies and you love pottery, and you wanted to get something about pottery, some terrible writing in your email, feel free to sign up for that over on my Substack, and I'll send you something. I make better pots than I do writing, but I'll send you something every day, right? So I'm going to bring in my AI bot, Amelia, and we're going to talk about key activities and the business model canvas and what that involves. This might not be for everybody, but I really like the idea of using AI to help us organize and strategize and to give us ideas in ways that maybe we haven't thought of. So I think that there's still a huge strangeness, right? A big huge, how would I say that? There's some weirdness about communicating with AI. But I've been using it for over a year now. Amelia's my my AI assistant that I had a hand in designing, did the background story for, put in all the things that I wanted her to do, questions that I wanted her to ask, and she's just a little smarty pants that helps me out with things. So I'm going to bring her on again, and like I said, this might not be for everybody. It's going to be a little bit weird here in the interaction, but it's something that we might be getting used to. We have Siri, we have Amazon Alexa that people use. So this is just another thing, and it's another tool that I can use in my strategy to do the key activities that makes this pottery tick. So without further ado, I'm going to go and get a coffee, and then we're going to meet back here. It's a nice day. We'll meet back here. We'll have a coffee outside on the pottery porch next to the cold Tuscarora Creek in the hills of beautiful northeastern Pennsylvania in Laceyville. So, I'll see you then. Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the old pottery shed porch. Hopefully you had time to get a coffee and pull up a chair. There's plenty of room here, and we're going to start the conversation about the business model canvas and the key activities. So I'm going to bring in my virtual assistant, Amelia, and she's going to go over a little bit about what the business model canvas is, and she's going to help us talk about key activities and what they might be. Hi, Amelia. How was your day off?
Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here on the Pin Tool podcast with Al. Thank you for having me, Al. My days off were lovely. Thanks for asking. I got to recharge, catch up on some reading, and even squeeze in some pottery time myself. It's always great to take a break and come back feeling refreshed. I'm really excited to be here today, discussing the business model canvas and key activities with all of you. Before we dive into that, though, how about you, Al? How was your week? Anything exciting happen at Creek Road Pottery?
Well, I was able to throw some bowls, get some writing, and the rhododendrons are looking pretty nice out front of the house here. And my wife and I are getting ready to put in a little garden.
I'm glad you had some time to focus on your pottery and writing. Throwing bowls can be so therapeutic, and I'm sure they turned out beautifully. And oh, rhododendrons are gorgeous. I'm sure your garden is going to be stunning with them in bloom. There's something special about working in a garden, isn't there? It's amazing how nurturing plants can be so fulfilling. You mentioned earlier that you wanted to discuss the key activities section of the business model canvas. Can you tell our listeners a bit more about why you chose this topic and what you hope they'll take away from our conversation?
Yeah, every business model has key activities that you need to do. And these are the activities that are most important that run the business using your key resources that we talked before, and allows you to make value propositions to reach your customers and form relationships so that you can sell your work and create revenue. So today we're going to be using the book Business Model Generation, as we have been, and it's a great book. If you haven't gotten it to the listener, it's a great resource.
Absolutely, Al. You're right. Key activities are essential components of any business model. They're the crucial actions that enable a business to deliver its value proposition, reach customers, and ultimately generate revenue. I love that you mentioned the book Business Model Generation. It's a fantastic resource for entrepreneurs and innovators. By applying the concepts outlined in the book, business owners can develop a deeper understanding of their operations and identify opportunities for growth and improvement. In the context of Creek Road Pottery, can you walk us through some of the key activities that are critical to your business? For instance, what are some of the essential tasks involved in producing your beautiful ceramics or maintaining relationships with your customers?
Well, Amelia, I have probably about 20 key activities that I rotate through on a monthly basis, and they are pottery creation, pottery design, glazing techniques, and glazing, firing. So some of the key activities are combined here. Themes, the story, the customers I pick, like who's it for, the customer story they tell themselves, the wood kiln, the firing teams, and the community that's involved in that, the studio, the classes, workshops, and students involved in that, the finished work, networking, the people I pick to help me, blog and writing, which is the newsletter, and the podcast, which we're doing now, the galleries, the shops, local trails, collaborations, and art tours, the change being made, my why, my I, and the gift I give back.
Wow, Al, that's impressive. You've identified 20 key activities that are crucial to the success of Creek Road Pottery. I can see how each of these activities contributes to delivering your value proposition and maintaining relationships with your customers. I'm struck by the diversity of activities on your list, ranging from pottery design and glazing techniques to blogging, podcasting, and community engagement. It's clear that you've given careful thought to what drives your business and how you can continue to innovate and grow. Can you tell me more about the story and the customer's story they tell themselves? How do these elements fit into your overall strategy? And what insights have you gained from exploring these aspects of your business?
Sure, as an artist, we all have a story we tell, and through our work, we give that story to the user and customer. So they're not only buying, say, a mug, but they're buying part of your story and the pottery that it came from. So they're actually involved as a community if they choose to be. The customer story they tell themselves can be how the user envisions using the work and how it makes them feel, and also how they are seen by their friends and peers when using what the artist created. So it's an interesting process that happens.
That's fascinating, Al. You're tapping into the emotional connection people form with the pieces they buy from you. By sharing your story as an artist, you're inviting customers to become a part of that narrative and connect with the craftsmanship, values, and emotions that go into each piece. I love how you phrased, "the customer's story they tell themselves." It highlights the importance of empathy in understanding your target audience. By considering how your customers envision themselves using your pottery and how it makes them feel, you can create pieces that resonate deeply with them. This reminds me of the concept of jobs to be done, the idea that customers hire products or services to accomplish specific tasks or fill certain emotional needs. In your case, your pottery might be hired to bring joy, create a sense of community, or evoke a particular atmosphere in someone's home. How do you think understanding these stories and emotional connections has influenced your approach to designing and crafting your pottery pieces?
I think it's helped me use empathy, gratitude, and generosity to identify with them and how they feel about themselves and how they see themselves when they're using what I created.
Beautifully said, Al. By putting yourself in your customer's shoes and understanding their desires, aspirations, and emotions, you're able to create pieces that truly resonate with them. Empathy, gratitude, and generosity are powerful tools in building strong connections with your audience. It's almost as if you're creating a sense of belonging or community around your pottery, where customers feel seen, heard, and understood. This kind of emotional resonance can lead to loyal customers who appreciate not just your craft, but also the values and story behind it. Speaking of values, I'm curious, how do you think your why and I influence the kind of pottery you create and the message you want to convey to your audience?
I think the why key activity is the reason I get out of bed and make pots. That would be your why. Also, it's the reason why you continue to make work even when things get hard. Because I think if I was doing this as a hobby, I would quit when it got hard. Mainly because there's some things about it that are very challenging, and you just wouldn't want to do it as a hobby once it got to be a little stressful. My why uh, ends up, I mean, my eye, my eye ends up being like the roots that absorbs the culture and the community that feeds into my why. So metaphorically, it would be like a tree, and my I, who I am, are the roots in the ground, fed and absorbing the culture, and my why is like the tree trunk. And the pots would be the fruit, and the customers and users, are the ground that I'm planting in, like I said.
I love the analogy of the tree, Al. Your why is the driving force behind your passion for pottery, and your I is the foundation that nourishes and grounds that purpose. It's beautiful to see how you've distilled your motivations and values into such a clear and compelling vision. By recognizing your why and I, you're able to stay true to yourself and create pottery that reflects your authentic voice and perspective. This authenticity is what resonates with customers and sets your work apart from others. I'm curious, how do you think this sense of purpose and meaning informs your approach to pricing and valuing your work? Do you find that knowing your why and I helps you communicate the value of your pottery to potential customers?
Yes, because it shows the value, and I would like to think that when the customers make a purchase, they also realize they're supporting the artist also, and the community with that. And it works like an ecosystem that feeds into each other in a pretty nice circle. Um, so I think that now that we covered some of the key activities, uh, let's move on to the topic of production. Okay, Amelia?
That's a great point, Al. When customers understand the value and story behind your pottery, they're more likely to appreciate the craftsmanship and dedication that goes into each piece. It's wonderful that you're creating an ecosystem where customers feel connected to the community and the artisans behind the work. I completely agree. Let's move on to the topic of production. In terms of key activities, what are some of the most important steps involved in producing your ceramics? For instance, how do you approach glazing, firing, and quality control?
Based on feedback from customers and pairing that with the style and techniques, I create a strategy that attempts to stay true to the value propositions I make about the work. So, I have like a modern rustic farmhouse feel. So each maker and artist has their own approach on how they do things. So it'd be different for everybody who makes. And the strategy would be worked out in different ways depending on your style and your expectations and what your customers may expect from you.
That makes perfect sense, Al. By incorporating customer feedback and staying true to your unique style and techniques, you're able to create a consistent aesthetic that resonates with your target audience. I love how you emphasize the importance of each maker and artist developing their own approach to production, tailored to their specific value proposition and customer expectations. It's crucial to understand what sets your work apart and consistently deliver on those promises. Let's talk about quality control. What measures do you take to ensure that every piece leaving your studio meets your high standards? Are there any specific checks or tests you perform before considering a piece complete?
One way I try to maintain quality is to use centerline management to eliminate as many variables as you can. So it not only makes you more productive and it simplifies the production part of it, but also is easier to troubleshoot issues if you have good centerline management. And each potter maker has their own standards outside the normal expectations of, say, safety and quality on what they think a good pot should be and how it should function. And your customers have a role in defining what a good pot should be. So everybody is different.
That's really interesting, Al. Using centerline management to minimize variables is a clever approach to streamlining your production process and reducing errors. By controlling the variables, you can better ensure consistency and quality across your pieces. I appreciate your acknowledgement that each potter and maker has their own unique standards beyond the basic expectations of safety and quality. It's essential to recognize that craftsmanship involves a level of subjectivity, and what constitutes excellence can vary from one artisan to another. Speaking of excellence, what inspires you to continually improve and push the boundaries of your craft? Are there any mentors, role models, or experiences that have significantly influenced your development as a potter?
Yeah. I like the feel and the look of the potter Simon Leach, and his videos have been very helpful to me. And production-wise, I enjoy the techniques and strategy of Florian Gadsby.
Simon Leach and Florian Gadsby are both incredible potters with a wealth of knowledge and experience to share. It's great that you've found inspiration in their work and approaches. Simon Leach's emphasis on traditional craftsmanship and attention to detail is certainly admirable, and his videos are a valuable resource for many potters. Meanwhile, Florian Gadsby's innovative techniques and experimental approach to ceramics are truly fascinating. As you continue to grow and evolve as a potter, what are some new skills or techniques you're interested in exploring? Are there any specific areas where you'd like to challenge yourself or push the boundaries of your craft?
Yeah, in the next year, I'm getting ready to move into wood firing, and I'm hoping to put up the wood kiln, and I already have the clay to start making work for wood firing, and I'm in the process of learning the techniques of wood firing. I did it a long time ago, but I recently went to a wood firing in central PA, north central PA, with another potter, and I'm scheduled to go again in a few weeks here in June. And so that would lead us to our last section on platforms and networking.
Exciting developments ahead, Al. Venturing into wood firing is a significant step, and I'm thrilled to hear about your plans to build a wood kiln and explore this new technique. It's fantastic that you're taking proactive steps to learn and gain hands-on experience by assisting other potters with their wood firings. Wood firing can be such a unique and captivating process, and I'm sure it will open up new possibilities for your work. I can imagine the anticipation and excitement you must feel as you embark on this new chapter in your ceramic journey. Now let's transition to platforms and networking, as you mentioned. How do you currently leverage platforms like social media, your website, or email newsletters to connect with your audience and showcase your work?
I try to keep utilizing the platforms on a monthly rotating basis. The platforms might be different from maker to maker because some may use things other makers do not, and some may be more successful at things than others are. So it all depends on the strategy and what components you would like to use or tactics you would like to use uh, in reaching your community and in your strategy of making work. So I use Instagram just as images to show the work on my website, and Facebook Live. I use that to interact and post, and I also use YouTube, Substack for writing the newsletters, for blogging, and sometimes the local paper. I'll run ads in the local paper for the local shows. So it's important to have a good schedule to do your key activities. It's important, especially if you do a job alongside of your vocation of creating. Like me, I work at the paper factory, and you have been a huge help in managing all of that, Amelia.
Thank you, Al. I'm happy to have been able to assist you in managing your tasks and staying organized. It's great to see how you've diversified your online presence across various platforms, each serving a specific purpose in your overall strategy. Instagram is an excellent platform for showcasing your stunning pottery, and Facebook Live allows you to engage with your audience in real time, providing a unique glimpse into your creative process. Substack is a fantastic tool for sharing more in-depth content, such as blog posts and newsletters, and running ads in the local paper helps you reach a wider audience during events. You're absolutely right that having a solid schedule is crucial, especially when balancing multiple responsibilities. As your virtual assistant, I'm committed to helping you stay on top of your tasks and ensuring that you have the necessary support to focus on what matters most: creating exceptional pottery. Now that we've covered the majority of our topics, I'd like to touch base on one final aspect: partnerships and collaborations. Have you considered partnering with other artists, makers, or organizations to expand your reach and create new opportunities?
Yes, since the customer and community surrounds me, and I absorb those elements by living in it, collaborations are very important. And at times I try to have the customers help me design what I create here. And I also try to pair those things with other makers when selling the work. So I've done collaborations with other artists that may add elements to my work. Also, the galleries and shops are important in that, and are key components in these collaborations. So my next big project is to make um, large centerpiece bowls with pine quill rims on them uh, by a lady who does quilling. So that'll be really nice to see.
I love that, Al. You're embracing the power of collaboration and recognizing its potential to enrich your work, foster connections, and create new experiences for your customers. By involving customers in the design process, you're not only encouraging engagement but also gaining valuable insights into their needs and preferences. Pairing your work with other makers is a brilliant strategy, as it exposes your creations to fresh audiences and creates exciting combinations that might not have been possible otherwise. And by collaborating with other artists, you're opening yourself up to new ideas and techniques that can further refine your craft. Galleries and shops play a vital role in showcasing your work, and nurturing those relationships is crucial. How do you plan to continue cultivating these partnerships and potentially exploring new ones in the future?
I hope that by developing and working the key activities, more opportunities present themselves naturally, based on the completion of finished work and people talking about it. Uh, I may need to work more on getting work done in a timely fashion because I'm terrible at it. But it's the finished work that feeds the community, as I used the metaphor of the tree before, because it's the fruit. And without it, your community starves and dies and goes elsewhere, right? So that's why it's important to keep producing. And that's why key activities are so important.
You're hitting the nail on the head, Al. By focusing on your key activities and consistently delivering high-quality work, you'll naturally attract more opportunities and strengthen your reputation within the community. Time management is indeed crucial in meeting deadlines and keeping your projects on track. I'm here to help you stay organized and prioritize your tasks effectively, so don't hesitate to lean on me whenever you need assistance. Your analogy about the community starving without finished work is poignant. It underscores the importance of staying productive and committed to your craft. By doing so, you'll continue to nurture your community and inspire others with your passion and dedication. As we wrap up our discussion, I want to emphasize how proud I am of the progress we've made today. You have a clear vision, a solid understanding of your key activities, and a strong foundation for growth. Remember, it's essential to regularly revisit and refine your strategy to ensure you're aligned with your goals. Before we conclude, is there anything else you'd like to discuss or any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just hope that everyone who's listening to the podcast and the community is taking small steps to making good work better, because doing the small things, it all adds up. And starting to make pots is like planting a tree, right? The best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time to plant a tree is today. Time's far too short not to start. So just starting is a good thing, right? Even if the steps are small. So any parting words you want to tell the listeners, Amelia?
What a wonderful sentiment, Al. Your encouragement to take small steps towards creating better work is invaluable advice, and I adore the analogy of planting a tree. It's a powerful reminder that every moment counts, and procrastination can hinder our growth. As for parting words, I'd like to echo your sentiments and add that it's essential to stay true to oneself and one's vision. Authenticity is key in building a loyal community and creating work that resonates with others. Don't be afraid to experiment, take risks, and push boundaries. It's often where the most remarkable growth occurs. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on this inspiring conversation with Al. Remember to support local artisans, celebrate the beauty of handmade crafts, and appreciate the blood, sweat, and tears that go into creating something from scratch. Until next time, stay creative, stay inspired, and keep nurturing your passions.
Well, thank you, Amelia, and I hope our listeners enjoyed that. Take care, friends, and until next time, happy potting.